listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Survivor. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Survivor news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Survivor.
Welcome, welcome, guys. It is Phil Svitek along with Steve the Steamer. Steve, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a very special guest, Robb, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name because I know I will butcher it, but you guys know him from Survivor Thailand. But Robb, please introduce yourself.
My name is Robb Zbacnik.
Robb Zbacnik. That's not so bad.
Not so bad. It's Croatian.
Not so bad. And so for those of you who remember, Survivor Thailand was the 5th season of Survivor. I'm correct on that one, right?
Yep, 100%.
All right.
Yep. Number 5.
Number 5. And so Steve did watch the show, but Robb also watched this episode with us tonight, and he will be discussing it along with me and Steve, and then we'll interview Robb during our special segment about his experience on Survivor, getting his take from everything, and he'll also talk about being on Saddle Ranch, a show on VH1, and then any other new projects he's got coming up. I hear you got a music video.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a music video for a band called Ono Not Stereo, and we'll talk about that later.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Steve, what did you think about the Redemption Challenge? For me, it was what I liked it in the idea concept. I thought it was a very good challenge, but as a thing to watch, I thought it was one of the most boring things ever conceived.
I don't know. I disagree. I normally like the concentration challenges since it's more like fair to everybody, since it's not like a physical thing or anything along those lines. It's just standing there and try to concentrate. So I like that aspect. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of boring to watch. But they seem to do it like every season, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. And who did you think was going to win, Semhar or Christine?
Had to be Christine after Samhan's terrible spoken word poetry. You knew that was going to work.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to get all of your guys' take on it, but here's kind of my interpretation. I literally wrote down, "What is this god-awful prayer? Please don't tell me that's for Jesus," or someone of that nature.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it for Jesus, or was she talking like to the totem that she was supposed to have on top of like the sticks?
That's
like, it was
how I
just a
felt
random
too.
thing.
I think she was praying to the totem, dude. That was my take on it for sure.
Well, I mean,
I'll have 10 of your babies without pain medication.
I mean,
what?
Robb, you have not seen this new season much, right?
No. She seems like a hop, skip, and a jump away from chewing her own fucking ear off or something.
She definitely is. I mean, this is the second time we've heard her poetry, so we obviously have Robb's take. Steve, better than the first or worse?
I think it's worse because it seemed more sad. Like the first one she did, like the first episode, is like more upbeat, and now she's like totally depressed because she's like on Redemption Island for 3 days, and she went through like the abandonment issues, which you pointed out last week, and that she alluded to today.
Yeah.
It's like she was just so far gone after 3 days. I didn't want her around any longer. Like, just get her the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Send her home. Let her do her spoken word off my TV.
And again, it's just okay. What seems to be kind of a recurring theme. You know, we see it with Cochran, we see it with Semhar, and we see it maybe with a few other people, arguably. But okay, you came here because you have issues. For Semhar, it's abandonment issues. Not the right place to go to kind of cure that ailment.
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse, honey.
It is.
Yeah, and it did.
And it did.
Yeah, and it did. Indeed.
Well, what are your thoughts in the competition? you guessed that Rob guessed that Christine would lose.
Yeah, that was just me, like watching her shake in the beginning. I thought she was gonna shit the bed and drop the totem, but our girl Samhar couldn't keep it together.
Yeah, and looking at him, you would suspect that, since it seemed like, even though it's not really athletic, she looked like she'd be more capable of doing something. But yeah, it didn't really work out for her. And I'm still blaming the spoken word.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely jinxed it. Cause you know what? Even though it wasn't, you guys say it was meant for the totem. I think God was listening. Was like, wait, I'm confused. Is that for me? No, we're not having that. But what was interesting, Rob, you guys didn't have Redemption Island, correct?
No, we did not have Redemption Island.
What do you think of this aspect to the game?
I think it's interesting to maroon people and send them off by themselves and leave them to their own devices for a number of days. I would fucking go nuts, man. I went nuts out there amongst my fellow tribe mates, listening to people talk about fucking the food that they wanted back home and like what they would do for peanut butter. I just had fantasies of burning everyone alive, but I couldn't imagine being on Redemption Island. I mean, I can say from my perspective, I know that we had to make our own fire, we had to find our own water and boil it and do all that. So I don't know if she has to do all those same things on Redemption Island, and if so, it wouldn't be a little piece of pie. That's for sure.
Two interesting things that you pointed out to me, and we'll kind of discuss your end of it. But you said it's as real as it looks.
For sure.
And then in speaking about Samhar and Redemption Island, it's very lonely. Like, yeah, there's a camera crew, but they can't be filming you for hours on end when you do nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's an on-site like producer, somebody there like making sure when to cover her. Like maybe if she's doing spoken word by herself.
That could be.
No reason. Or maybe if she just has a breakdown and decides to cry on her own, they're going to cover it because they want to make it look like she's absolutely miserable out there. Because people eat that shit up. But it's still, they're not supposed to talk to you. I mean, obviously I'm a pretty talkative guy. Like every time there was someone around me, even when I was by myself, it would be, like there'd be a camera guy there, and sometimes one of the producers would be there because there's like 100 of them that work on the show. And I would always strike up conversation with them, and they'd be so pissed because I would ask them interesting questions. I'd be like, so you don't have to starve out here, and you aren't playing a game for $1 million, but do you still have to dig a hole and take a shit in it? And they'd be like, they would laugh. Like I would ask them serious questions.
Yeah.
I'd be like, who would you vote out of the camera crew? And I'd be like, this one dude has a really weird smell. And that other guy gets on my nerves because he tells me what to do too much. Who would you vote out? Anyways.
Right on. But, and it was also interesting. You said on Redemption Island, it could make for some interesting hookups.
Yeah, I think it'd be fucking hilarious if two people got voted off to Redemption Island together, and they were like, "Well, we've been marooned out here by ourselves. We might as well, we might as well kiss each other where we be."
Steamer, in your knowledge of the past, what would make the most interesting Redemption Island hookup? Whether, obviously we don't have a lot to go on this season, but in seasons prior.
They only did like the last season, and I can't remember who was left there. I don't know. At one point, there's like 5 people just like chilling out there since they did like a mass challenge towards the end. This year, they said you're just going to do one-on-one, so it'd just be 2 people, and it'd probably just be for a night, and then they'll have the Redemption Challenge. So if they're going to hook up, it'd just be in that one night span.
Well, I mean, you could.
So I don't know.
Sparks could fly in a matter of minutes, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty sure that there were attractive people on my cast, but again, speaking from my perspective, from being out there, I definitely like sex was the last thing on my mind. I didn't even. Everyone's like, oh, like friends of mine, they're like, you were there for 18 days, you never jerked off, and I was like, no. I was starving and delirious and fucking trying to like figure everyone out. It was the last thing on my mind. But I think honestly, if I got voted to Redemption Island and there was an attractive girl there, and she happened to like, I don't know, the way I speak spoken word poetry, or how cool my buff looked over my bald head, I don't know, maybe sparks could fly. I would definitely fucking hop on it.
That's true.
I'd be like, dude, at least get a back massage out of it while you're out there.
Right on. Let's see. after that, there was a segment basically that I call Russell crying. And oh my word, we got it a little bit in the preview last week where it was Russell arguing with himself. You know, I'm always in this constant struggle against good and evil.
You mean Brandon?
That's it.
Yeah, Russell. Yeah,
Russell's his uncle.
Russell's his. Which this is what bothers me. They're like, I see Russell in him. It's the guy's fucking uncle, dude. Did he raise him? I want some backstory, because otherwise it's like you guys are fucking idiots. He's gonna play his own game. I mean, was Russell that religious? I don't remember him being that much of a Bible bumper.
No.
I don't recall that angle of him, unless they just didn't show it. It didn't seem like any of that existed in him. So yeah, different person.
Yeah, but this kid, I mean, obviously continue Phil, but this kid's fucking.
Oh my!
He knows nothing of politics or the game of Survivor. Apparently, he's already revealed all his cards. I would honestly I wouldn't even vote the guy off. I'd tell him to go for a swim, and I'd try to drown him. He's one of the worst people I've ever. I honestly I probably would have punched him in his face and gone home, or lit him on fire while he was asleep.
I mean, here's kind of my perspective on it. Michaela goes up to him and she's like, clearly there's some tension between us, and I want to talk about it. That's the subtext of which she comes in, and he's like, "Oh my God, you are a temptress, you are a demon, you tell nothing but lies. I can't believe you're doing this. Why would you ever even think No, that's what a normal person does. They confront you about what's going on. That's a healthy person.
Why are you coming at me? Why are you coming at me?
Exactly, and then the fact that he tells the whole group.
Absolutely ridiculous. I love how he keeps trying to have everybody convene around him, and he's like, "Hey, I lied." You're like, dude, telling everyone you lied at tribal council. I'm not a doctor, but I would say that's probably a bad move. I'm not a scientist. I would say that's probably the dumbest move you could make in the game.
What I liked about his little group meeting was when he said, "Does anyone have anything else to add?" No one's gonna fucking say a word to you.
Bro. Because no one wants anyone else to think that they actually give a rat's ass about this poor fucking idiot. I also love how he has Lil Hance, or what's his last name?
Hance, Russell.
He has Lil Hance on his arm, and he has Hance on his back. And people couldn't put two and two together. Like, oh, I never saw it before. I was too busy staring at the stupid bull tattoo you have on your chest.
Well, the
Texas
he kept his shirt on the whole time.
Yeah.
He's like, he was gonna make up excuses for why his shirt was always on. He wanted to cover those tattoos.
Yeah, that's
dummy.
That's the thing you missed, Rob.
If you have tattoos that say your name on them, don't go on Survivor if you're worried about your last name.
Seriously. And also, again, it's the guy's fucking uncle. I know they're probably trying to play some angle casting him, but I think it's fucking stupid.
I agree.
If he would have worn a fedora on this episode or on any of the episodes, I think it would have been kind of cool, because he could have been like, "Oh, guess what? I'm also his nephew. We have the same terrible taste in headwear, and I'm also his nephew." If you gave a rat's. Anyway.
At least he didn't take Russell's underwear. That shit was fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
the fucking guy walking around with his fucking bulge all the time.
Yeah, bone smuggling.
And then
Terrible.
I mean, he just went totally nuts with I lost my temper, I lost my cool. Okay, where did you lose your temper?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. It's funny to me. This guy's like, I deal with these demons, man, and he got all choked up and he started crying, and he was like, man, I believe in Jesus Christ and I love God so much, which we all saw him on the boogie board throwing one up to fucking JC, getting towed in. But I think it's hysterical, man. The guy's like, I deal with this my whole life, man. I deal with being pulled by good and evil in all these directions. It's like, no, I think you're fucking confused as to honestly who the fuck you really are without dropping your uncle's name, and what you really want to do. He confused the hell out of me. I haven't watched, I've watched a couple episodes every season, but I've never seen anyone that is as blatantly mentally retarded in the game as this guy. I mean, for lack of a better term. It hurt my feelings. Did I want to say? I wish you could tell him, dude, just shut up. Just quiet down. Let everything.
Well,
happen.
the interesting, I mean, Coach literally got last tribal council. He was saving Brandon from kind of being ousted. Where he was like, I was told this information, and then was like, who told you? Who told it to you? And he wouldn't reveal that it was Brandon.
Yeah.
And then, like an idiot, he goes against Coach and basically blurts it out. So you've not only revealed to the to the group that
The
you
secret,
suck.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you also
You
ratted out Coach.
You ruined your chance with Coach, bro.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're done.
And my favorite part is at the end of the day he keeps going against Michaela, who he keeps saying like, you know, she lies, everyone hates you, and all that. She's the most athletic woman there, if not like one of the most athletic people just in general of that group.
And she's attractive, which goes a long way.
Exactly.
You keep the cute women around. I mean, they're not going to be a threat to you when it becomes, you know, when the merger happens or when the two tribes come together. You know, you're not really worried about the girls. You're worried about the big, strong guys that can do some of the challenges, even though it becomes mental then too. But still.
Yeah.
But at the end, you know what I mean?
She doesn't seem like a threat to me.
No.
Like she wouldn't be the one that I would attack. Again, this dude Brandon has clearly no fucking idea what he's doing.
Now, she's a lingerie football model. I don't even know what that really fully means.
Well, dude, friends of mine have been in the lingerie bowl, but did they like make it official and make it like a real sport?
Apparently.
A lingerie football player.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
She says they tackle on everything, so I don't know. I never watched it, so
I might tune in,
know.
man. It'd be more awesome if like the field wasn't grass. It was like the whole field was mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing the football, like they threw each other's cell phones around and.
That would be fun.
Awesome.
But the point being is that Brandon is on this journey, quest, whatever, to basically say Michaela just flaunts her stuff around. I mean, from watching this episode, I'll get your take on this, Steamer, because I know you and I have discussed this. But Rob, just watching this episode, do you think she was just basically running around being like, "Here's my boobs, check out my boobs"?
Absolutely not. I don't feel like. I mean, honestly, like she's a lingerie model. I mean, she wore a bikini top most of the time, or a buff, or whatever. But she's a chick, dude. When a girl's, you know, put together a certain way, they're not ever going to be ashamed of the way they look. I mean, in her case, I mean, yeah, she's going to flaunt it. I didn't necessarily see her going over the top flaunting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Honest to God, he makes it sound like she gives all the guys lap dances.
Yeah.
She sleeps with every one of them every night.
It's sad though, because he honestly at this point he doesn't even have a dog, or she doesn't even have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
Like he's trying, he's honing in on her, because honestly, I don't know if maybe Jesus told him to while he was sleeping. Otherwise, like he clearly has no fucking. He doesn't know who to pick a fight with. It's really sad. He's like, guys, I don't know if it was in the preview for next week. He's like, guys, we got another problem. He's like getting everyone together again. I'm waiting for him to break out a Bible and start fucking reciting passages. It's breaking my heart.
It is. Steve, before we move on, what's your take on has Michaela gotten to be more of a temptress than in previous episodes?
No, it's the same she's always been. And I don't know if we're missing something they're not showing us, but it doesn't even seem like that. It just seems like this guy is just a friggin' moron.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's clear to me. Clearly, this guy.
Yep.
It's almost troubling to watch.
How do you guys know how old is this kid? It doesn't say.
Like, I would say 23.
And I love how it says Brandon Hance, and then it says next to him
Russell
Hance nephew. Who the
That's
fuck?
his job.
Yeah, like that's what about what he does? I would imagine he probably sings in the choir and donates a lot of his time to getting fucking terrible tattoos and hanging out at the church. But aside from that,
I think that's what it says on his business card. Russell Hance's nephew.
Russell Hance's nephew, for sure. He's like, hey, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm Russell Hance's nephew, and I was on Survivor.
Yeah.
That's what he puts in the baskets for the free lunches at the restaurant.
Yeah. On his business card, it's like a picture of his chest tattoo.
And that was, I
And then his
mean,
name.
again, we could continue about this all night, but
Yeah.
when we literally the first episode that we did for AfterBuzz, I had to ask Steve, and I was like, wait, who's Russell Hance? Is he like a famous serial killer? Did I
I
miss?
was like, I didn't even know that. I was like, wait, is he like a pianist that fucking everyone wants to be friends with? I don't get it.
Yeah. And
Russell Hance's nephew. That guy makes a great sandwich. Who the fuck is he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
He invented the club.
He invented the club. Oh man.
ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Well, anyway, why don't we move to the competition? And what I like.
Wait, before we get into the competition, what about like the other tribe when they showed like Papa Bear give like his sermon from the hammock?
All right. What are your thoughts? I mean,
it seemed like random, and I don't know. Like I didn't really notice like the first few episodes, but like he was really amping up like his accent. It sounded like he was like Harvey Firestein or something. It was just very bizarre. Like when he was in the ocean, like the first episode, like he's talking about himself. He seemed like a normal New York guy, but this time like he's just amping up his personality. I don't know what it was, but it was kind of disturbing. It seemed like he was like a different person than he was.
Mhm. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously interesting that they even showed him. Now looking back on it retrospectively, it's obviously for the reason that he got voted off.
Yeah, yeah.
But
which I suspected when they showed it, because it was just too random. Like
Yeah.
on the bottom of the totem pole or whatever. Like they wouldn't show that unless there's a chance he was going home, either this episode or the next one.
Yeah, I think it was funny when they showed him reeling in the boogie boarder. When they showed him reeling Brandon, or when they showed him reeling in like the fucking guy's name. I can't think of the kid.
Ozzy.
Oh yeah, Ozzy. When they showed him reeling in Ozzy, and he missed the thing, and then tried to grab it and did like this weird half step forward and missed it again. It's like no, like the guy fucking trips and falls and hurts himself like taking his laundry to the washing machine.
Yeah.
The worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But again, he was a detective. So let's imagine.
I mean, here's the thing.
What the fuck was he doing detective work on? Anyways.
I mean, we see his run. We'll talk about him kind of later, but just real quick about his running. I don't think he's ever chased any person down.
Him running into the woods might be the saddest display of being a grown man I've ever witnessed in my life. Hands down. His arms weren't even up. Like, what was driving him? He pranced off into the jungle, dude, like he was going to meet up with somebody. And swoon him. I loved it. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do this totally inconspicuously. And everyone saw him. I think it would have been more rad if someone was like, oh, did you see Papa Bear running in the woods? Yeah, did you see the way he ran? What the fuck?
Yeah, we're definitely getting rid of him next.
Yeah, clearly he's not going to help us in a challenge, bro. The dude fucking, the guy runs like he's been in a wheelchair for 40 years.
You know what? I would say here should have been his strategy. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. I think I ate something bad. I feel diarrhea coming on. I don't want to smell up anything. I gotta run.
Yeah, I gotta go look for the
And then at least it would have qualified the funny run, because it's like, okay, you got shit.
You got one
out
on deck, and the shit timer's fucking blazing.
Yeah. So that could have saved you a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure they would have known. I'm sure someone's seen him run before. They just haven't captured the glory of it on camera prior to this episode.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Well,
I got nothing, man.
Speaking of uncoordination, I mean the first attempt that Ozzy's making towards grabbing one of those bags, it was, how hard is it to really give a guy slack? That team.
Dude, them trying to figure out how to give him slack so he could run the boogie board out to where the bags were. Phil and I were talking about it, and I was like, dude, how hard would it be if that was your job? They're like, all right, you have the easy job. Give me some slack so the one who's, I'm just as starving and as fucking sleep deprived and delirious as you three assholes. Let me run and go get these bags and then get a fucking free ride home while you guys wheel me in.
And it's not even running. You're running
on like a platform in the water.
Yeah.
It's fucking miserable. Yeah. They couldn't even give the poor dude slack. So homeboy's yelling the whole time. Slack! Give it to me! Let me have it.
But did you see like the crack staff he had giving him the slack?
Yeah.
Like one side was like Keith and like Cochran going around for the motions. Like Cochran just being pulled around on that thing. He wasn't doing a damn thing. It was like all Keith. The Cochran was like almost just fell to the water. He was being jerked around so much. And then on the other side, you have Papa Bear doing nothing.
Yeah.
So they basically had half a team doing it for him. So I can see how it happened, but in retrospect, it's really pathetic on their part.
Yeah, it's pathetic. That poor guy Cochran too, man. He looks like everyone that's ever been picked on in high school before.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. I know his. I know he hasn't had an easy life.
Well, Steve, we always like to talk about this. On your scale of competitions, how would you rate tonight's? In terms of physicality and the way you liked it.
It's about a 3. It was just so stupid, like the slack and all that crap. Just have him freaking do something physical, and then like the puzzles, like it was just so cheesy. Like, I'm over it.
Yeah, how'd you feel about the immunity challenge?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, it's just overall, like, just stupid. Like, the boogie board part was cool, just to see like Brandon like shout out to Jesus, like you alluded to before. Like
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
cool. Like him just chilling, like he's out at a fucking amusement park.
Yeah.
But
Seriously.
Overall, it was like actually like the hooks was cool because Coach
Yeah, that's what I
was
thought,
phenomenal
too.
with that. Yeah,
I thought
that
the
was cool.
grappling
but the
hook was a
rest
cool
of it
element. Pulling in the bags that were grabbed before. That was cool.
Coach is like Batman. It's like
Yeah.
using that hook, just lifting that shit up.
Yeah, he should go on The Price is Right and just fucking rule everyone at Plinko.
But I don't know why do they need two people to do that? Couldn't they just have one
Yeah,
person up there?
they got
what was
they
the
got a
second person
spotter.
doing?
They got a
Yeah.
spotter like he's sniping stuff. You're a little left. You're a little high, like watching Top Shot.
And there's just like chilling up there with him. Like I'm just gonna stand here and act like I'm doing something as Coach does all the work.
Yeah.
Like how about get her down there and get some slack or something? Do something.
Help me pull the rope up, homegirl.
Yeah.
Don't just stand there. You fucking
Or
jerk.
go help the other team. Actually, they got Cochran and Papa Bear doing nothing. Give them like a competitive edge.
Yeah.
Did you see
Oh,
Papa
that's
Bear
cool.
lying after the competition? Like I honestly thought he needed a respirator.
Oh yeah, he laid down like he was dead. That was amazing.
Oh my god. Poor guy. This guy's gonna hate us
Tired of
after.
work.
Sorry, Papa Bear.
Yeah, I mean, you just.
No offense, bro.
It's not that we don't like you. It's
Do some
just you
jumping
weren't-
jacks, man.
Exactly. You just weren't cut out for Survivor. I don't
Yeah,
think.
exactly. Prior to going on Survivor, I know because I've been on Survivor. I had a couple months before I actually left for my journey to Jeff Probst's world, and I definitely stepped it up and did more than I usually did just to make sure. I mean, fuck. The one piece of advice that Mark Burnett gave me, he said that I should come with a little bit of fat. He's like, don't get in too good a shape.
Yeah.
You need some reserves to tap into, which was good advice because I was pretty lean before, so I ate a ton of calories prior to the competition.
Oh, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll definitely talk about. I definitely want to pick your brain about everything. Any last kind of comments about the competition in general? Who you thought did well, did poorly, apart from Papa Bear?
Papa Bear and Cochran, useless.
Yeah,
That's it.
What's the over/under on Brandon, man? Are you saying like next immunity challenge they lose, he's gone, or?
I'd give him like maybe like three more episodes. Like there's no way this putz can last any longer than that.
I said,
like,
dude, he dodged a bullet tonight, man. If they would have lost that, I think he would have been going. Now he has the chance. I mean, to be increasingly more awkward to the viewers, and probably insanely more annoying to his castmates, to his tribe mates. But he can definitely win somebody over. I mean, as far as
normally you think like somebody like if they're in that position they could eventually like sway some people.
Yeah,
but I
get
think
someone
this
on
guy
his team.
is like beyond the point where he could sway like everybody.
He
Like,
wouldn't sway me. I'll be honest. He could tell me.
No.
He could tell me like, hey, when we get home, I have a really hot sister that likes to cook and do laundry. She loves tall guys with a bald head, and I'd be like, cool, man. I still want to fucking punch you in the neck and throw you in the fire.
And it's like that's like most people would be able to do that, but this guy is so stupid. Like he wouldn't be able to pull it off.
Like I said, he has no
It's
concept
so
of politics.
bad.
Yeah,
No.
terrible. It's like I'm pretty sure like he didn't understand. Like you're amongst a group of people who are in a competition with you for $1 million, and so far they don't really dislike you. They all probably wish that you die a horrible death. You're shit in the bed, bro.
He certainly is. But
he's at least he's Russell's nephew.
he got that going for him.
Hey, I see Russell in him, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's right there. You just had to look. It's
You just have
right
to
on
look.
his arm and back.
He's clearly related to him too. I can see the resemblance.
Right on. Well, luckily he is saved and lives for another.
Luckily for who? Not us.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, him. For him, man. Well, he's carrying on the family name of Hans, so there's redemption yet.
I wonder if Russell was I wonder if Russell was tweeting him while he was out there. Like, I'm just kidding. You stupid fuck. That's not how you play the game.
You gotta burn the socks. That's what you do. That's the first thing you do in Survivor. Burn the socks.
All right.
Right on. Well, I want to talk about. We've spoken about Papa Bear. We've spoken about Cochran. Now, these two guys together strategizing. You take a Harvard grad student and you take a former New York detective, and they got nothing. Like really.
Between the two of them.
Honestly, I was just so disappointed. Like, you can't come up with anything?
You would think that, like, being a detective, you'd have to be able to kind of read people and kind of figure out who's bullshitting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so where were you on Tuesday, September 15th? And Papa Bear's like, oh, this guy's totally clean. Let's go have coffee and a donut already. I'm fucking exhausted.
Let me get back to this hammock.
Let me get
Call
back
my name.
Yeah, let me get back to this. Let me get back to this hammock over here so I can talk to this awkward Harvard grad.
and then they show him like going up to like Ozzy and them, and Ozzy's like, and they're like, we're voting out Cochran. Cochran's the one. He's like, but why? Why Cochran? Why are you asking that question?
Have you
What's
seen
the point
Cochran,
of
bro?
that question?
Why would you ask that question? The guy's been moon tanning for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Wait, you're voting up the scrawny guy?
Yeah,
You gotta explain this to me. I don't get it.
And especially after, like, you know, as he's talking with Cochran on the hammock, he's like, well, obviously I'm trying to save my neck. So, like, dude, I know you wanted to be with Cochran, but you really didn't have a strategy.
Nah.
So just go with it. Be like, oh yeah, he should totally be voted off. Damn, I hate Cochran. He
fuck
does
Cochran.
Yeah.
Look how awkward he is. Get rid of him.
Yeah, and then then say these qualities about yourself. Well, guys, I know I may not be the most physically fit guy here, but hey, I have a font of wisdom.
And I was a detective.
Yeah, there you go. And
like, play that up, dude. You might not have been a fucking gumshoe, bro. But at least be like, hey, you guys, I got some information for you guys. I'm a detective, and I followed the clues, but I didn't find the immunity thing in our camp. But you should still listen because I was a detective.
I was cracking the clues. I determined that Cochran killed OJ's wife. Let's get rid of him now.
Yeah. Cochran is a racist, and he's awkward. We should vote him off immediately. He's a terrible person. He's not to be trusted.
And you know, I mean,
it's like,
go ahead.
It seems like Papa Bear like used up like his good speech that first episode when they're all bonding in the ocean. He's like talking about himself, like when he came out, and like just watching, you're like, oh, he seems like a good dude. But then like day whatever this is, like he has nothing else to add. Like he had that one statement in the ocean, and that's it. He's done. There's nothing left to the guy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad since like that first episode I liked him. I was like, yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Let's see what he does. Like he's got the interesting backstory. But no, just complete disappointment.
Yeah. And you know what sucks is that, I mean, it just kind of perpetuates the stereotype of, like, you know, that old people on this show don't do as well or what, you know what I mean? It's just like, come on. Do it. You know, you hate when people say that, so
but
don't.
It's the truth, man. I mean, honestly, you call a spade a spade, you know? Honestly, when you're older and you know you're not in as good a shape, you don't have the endurance that someone a little bit younger than you has, and honestly, like you're enduring not having a lot of sleep, not eating square meals. Like, I mean, the entire time I was out there, we ate coconut every day, but it wasn't like in abundance. Like, we'd have a couple pieces of coconut, and it kept me from strangling everyone to death, but I never felt full.
Yeah.
But being older, I mean, could you imagine?
Exactly. And you know what? To Papa Bear's credit, at the end of the day, he was a New York detective. And you know what? That's a lot of mileage. That's a lot of years. So you know what? He's kind of earned his time. And, you know, you shouldn't be doing Survivor. You deserve a nice retirement. You know what I mean? You've done your time.
Seriously.
So now let the young kids have it. This is their time. You know, that's why they should be hustling. And so, you know what? At the end of the day, as much shit as I've given you, and on behalf of my other co-hosts, you know what? You did a good job. So
no, honestly,
and plus, like he was like a gay. He was like openly gay, so like that had to add at least something to it in one way or another. So like he was who he was there. So and he served this city or state wherever the hell he did, and he has a right to go out there and suck it up, and we can laugh at him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right on. And you know what? I'm kind of glad he did fool Jim for a little bit. Because, you know, everyone thought he had the idol. But, Jim, man, I really hope to see more of Jim, and we'll get more into predictions.
Yeah, dude, that guy looks like a substitute PE coach. Like somebody that would just show up and wear, like, fucking short shorts and high socks, and you just want to fight him, like, immediately.
That is a good description of it.
Yeah, like, that's what I take away from that dude. Like, hey, Jim, you mind if I call you Jim? Don't refrain from talking to me for the rest of our Survivor experience. Good talk.
Right on. Well, before we head into a commercial and speak with Rob more intimately about his experience, do you guys have any last comments about the episode in general that we might have missed?
I like the like Pop Bear's like constant reference like the 5. It like made me think of like those old like T-Mobile commercials. Like, are you in my 5?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like if you just see like some hacky commercial like Papa Bear just like being left out as like Ozzy and Jim
like,
and
they clearly never want to call or text
people.
me.
Yeah,
they clearly never want to call or text Papa Bear, dude. He's out of their 5.
Well, I think he's with the Sprint network, so I don't think he has a Fave 5.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be it. Rob, any last words?
I'm interested to see Papa Bear arrive at Redemption Island and scare the shit out of the girl that's hanging out there, Christine.
That was, we got a little bit of it.
Yeah, they showed it,
but not enough to like really soak it in.
Some burly cop showing up, and you don't sleep well as it is, so she's probably dreaming about like turkey dinner in her own bed. And this cop shows up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry, I'm the dude. You already know everything about me. I don't really have anything else to say, but let's hang out on this Redemption Island and talk about fucking."
But do you think he introduced himself, like walked up, "Hey, I'm Papa Bear." Like,
yeah, she's like,
she had no idea. Like, I don't know if she
did.
like. Did she ever catch his name? Like, did they ever say his name like in the challenges?
They did.
Okay.
It was funny because today it was like Papa Bear. They spoke to the fact when Papa Bear let go of the turning thing, whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah. But the turning thing, that works for me.
There you go. So and that's what made it really funny is because A, he messed it up, and B, he was called out on it, and C, it was just like Papa Bear did. I wish I had the quote, but it was just the combination of all 3 elements.
Yeah, he's like, did you
what?
see Papa Bear out there? He said it was. I think it was Jim too.
Yeah.
He's like, did you see Papa Bear should have been gone first? He's like he should have been gone first. That was funny. The poor guy, he couldn't catch a break out there. At least he got to enjoy himself in that hammock, man. We didn't have a hammock. That's bullshit. They got like fucking.
I'd probably see them try to pack up that hammock and move to Redemption Island with them.
Yeah, I would have done that.
In that hammock.
Dude, I would have done that just to spite them. Oh, I'm going to Redemption Island? Well, I'm taking your fucking hammock. Have fun.
I'm staying shop on Redemption.
Yeah, I'll just fucking sleep on a hammock out there all day. I don't need redemption.
Yeah, I got my fucking hammock. Here's my redemption.
There's my redemption. This little sweet hammock.
Right on. Well, we'll be back right after this.
Want to find out what the AFTERBUZZ is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AFTERBUZZ TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AFTERBUZZ on.
Welcome. So, as promised, we're going to interview Rob, and he's going to reveal everything from Survivor to even the Saddle Ranch and everything else in between.
Good stuff.
So once again, full name, Robb Zbacnik.
My name is Robb Zbacnik, or Zbacnik if you're from Croatia.
Right on.
Or if you're from America and don't give a shit, everyone calls me Robb Z.
There you go. That's a cool nickname.
Yeah, it's all right.
What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is Die For What You Love. It's DIEFORWHAT, letter ULOVE. Die For What You Love.
And I take it that is kind of your personal philosophy in life.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, from everything, I saw the first, I would say, 2 or 3 seasons of Survivor, and then this is the kind of now I'm finally back into it. So I did not see your season, but from reading up on you, you seem kind of very much like a free spirit kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. I definitely feel blessed to have had the opportunities I've had in my life, not just like with Survivor, just with like the friendships that I've been able to make and the cool stuff that I've been able to do. And I get to spend a lot of my free time doing things that I'm passionate about, and It's fucking bitching, man.
Right on.
Die for what you love. I agree with that.
Well, how did you become a castmate on Survivor?
Honestly, this is the most lackluster story in the history of Survivor. So, 100% truth. I went on a stupid show called Eliminate that they were casting for Eliminate at the bar that I ran in Arizona called the Cat Eye Lounge. That was a fucking hole in the wall. The place was a dump. It smelled like the Great Depression. And half the shit that we had in there was liquor made from other bottles into premium bottles. So anyways, it's closed down now, so I can completely smash the place. Anyways, for whatever reason, like rock stars and people like to hang out there because we played rock and roll, and the place was literally like dark. You couldn't see anything. But they had a casting for Eliminate at Cat Eye Lounge, and I was behind the bar. And I was like, giving them waters and whatever they wanted. And one of the producers who was casting was like, would you ever want to be on the show? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to be with like 5 other dudes. I'd rather do something cooler with my afternoon, like bang some girl I already hooked up with. And so they're like, no, you'd be the picker. So it would be you and 4 girls. And I was like, all right, I'm like, that sounds cool. I was 22 years old or whatever. I was like, that sounds awesome. So like, yeah, we'll get you some really hot girls. So I go on Eliminate, and it ends up being one, I would say, about a hard 6, depending on how much you had to drink in the evening. The other 3 girls were absolutely cows, like as far as personalities go. Like I couldn't listen to any of them talk. So the Eliminate went interesting. I looked like a total asshole, but one of the people who casted Eliminate, a guy named Paul, ended up working on Survivor. So I get this random phone call from a block number. I'm getting on a plane, literally boarding, like walking to get my seat. And my phone calls from a block number, and I'm like, oh, and I'm flying to Orange County to go visit friends. And he's like, hey, this is Paul from Eliminate. And I was like, hey, what's up, Paul? Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he goes, you want to make $1 million? And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, would you ever be interested in being on Survivor? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would 100% be interested in being on Survivor. Fuck, I've never watched an episode, but I've heard a lot about it. So he's like, send a tape. He's like, you got to make a tape and send it in to this address, whatever. Mark on it this thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to get on a flight. I'm like, you're going to have to call and leave it on my voicemail. So I go to Orange County and go crazy for a number of days, come home and make this tape. That was probably the fucking most boring tape anyone's ever sent in. I was like sitting on a couch in my brother-in-law's theater room in Arizona talking about like my life and about what I do and what I love. Sort of like what I'm doing right now. Only so like my brother-in-law has no camera skills. So like the whole time he's filming me, it's like the angle's tilting, like he zooms in and out. There's like parts of me talking where I'm not even in focus, like the chair behind me.
Is it sometimes like it goes to your shoulder?
Yeah, it's like the worst Survivor audition video ever. So I end up getting a call. I give up on it because I don't get a call for like a month. But I was like, whatever. So I get a call. They maroon me at the DoubleTree, and I mean, I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about the other stuff. Basically, I went through the steps, full psych analysis, the whole 9. And the last night of us being sequestered in a hotel room, I snuck out and went and had drinks with friends of mine who are from California. I got in big trouble. I thought it was gonna get me X'd out. So I already wrote it off. I was like, fuck it. Well, the next day they had me go up to the penthouse where Mark Burnett and everyone else was, and they were like, yeah, you're one of the cast members. 100% all of us agree that you should be on the show. And they were like, but if you ever pull some shit like you pulled last night, we have people, like, they have alternates. They're like, we'll put someone else in there a week before taping if we have to.
Yeah.
So that's how I made it on there. And then,
so you got to you said you spoke with Mark Burnett and he gave you advice. How many times did you see him? How long was your interaction? Was he literally just like?
Honestly, I'm sorry to cut you off too.
No, I was gonna say because you said he said keep some fat on you.
Keep some weight on me. Yeah, Mark Burnett. The funny thing is, in the audition process, he was one of the I mean, this is years ago. This is 8 years ago. Like I'm sure by now it's changed, but he would ask me questions. He'd be like, so, when we did this report, we pulled a report on you, and you had an assault charge before you turned 18 years old. Like, what was up with that? And I was like, I got in a fist fight. And then, like, he asked me all these other questions, and he's like, would you consider yourself a violent person? I was like, no. I just grew up in a city where if someone talks shit to you, you fight them. I mean, I wrestled, I played football. There were fist fights every day.
Yeah.
So I talked to Mark a lot, actually. It's funny. And then I even talked to him when I was trying to figure out what luxury item I was going to bring, which we'll talk about later, the dumbest fucking thing ever. But he, after we got to Thailand, I saw him every day before the game started, and we were, you're on gag order. We couldn't talk to any of the castmates. Mm-hmm. So Mark was watching me eat one of the days, and I was like filling my plate with fresh fruit and protein, and he was like, "That's how I eat, but that's not how you should eat prior to a Survivor game."
Yeah.
He's like, "You need to eat." He's like, "I would be eating 5 or 6 pieces of bread at a time." Wow. He's like, "Load up. You're gonna need energy reserves. You're gonna be exhausted." He goes, "I know how much energy you have. You're still gonna be exhausted," which was sound advice. But
that was very nice of him. It doesn't seem like any of the producers would kind of give you.
It wasn't like he said it. He backhandedly said it to me. Mm-hmm. Like he didn't say it like you had. Like he was like, "You should be doing this."
Yeah. Because that's interesting. Like, you know what I mean? You don't expect like to get a training packet going into Survivor. No, like you should be working out 5 times a day. And
yeah. It wasn't like he was just like. I'm sure he told other people that too, because there were girls there that were eating like birds because they were about to be on camera.
Yeah.
But Mark, for whatever reason, I mean, I actually kind of regret I haven't been in contact with him in a number of years. But after the show, like I was working for a clothing company, and we gave him a bunch of free gear, and he would wear it on TV. And Mark was really cool to me. I think he really appreciated, I guess, like who I was, because I was always honest with him, and in my episodes, I didn't ever lie to anybody. I just went out there and did my thing. Yeah. And he appreciated it. Mark Burnett's a fucking amazing dude. Like you can't help but love the guy when you meet him. He's very passionate about what he does, and he's an extremely like all or nothing dude, which is rad.
Yeah, very cool. Mm-hmm. We've kind of gotten similar reports. I mean, he does Celebrity Apprentice, and one of our hosts, Maria Canales, who's a former WWE diva, she was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice, so she says kind of the same things in that regard.
Yeah.
Now you were the youngest castmate on Survivor Thailand.
Yeah.
What was the kind of age range for you? Obviously, we talked about Pop Bear, and he's a lot older than most of these guys.
Honestly, on my cast, there was a New York City police officer, and this was only a couple years after 9/11. Mm-hmm. Ken, I think he turned 30 while we were filming the show. Jed was a few years older than me. Penny and Aaron were all like late 20s, mid to late 20s. On the other team, there was, I'm trying to think of her name. Tanya, which is weird to me. Tanya, she's spelled Tanya, sweetheart, nicest girl alive. She was like in her mid to late 20s. Everyone was pretty much young, but then they had like a Navy dive instructor named Helen, who was very cool. She's like in her late 40s, I want to say. And then there was Clay Jordan, who they should bring him back for Survivor season. He's one of the
They would never bring him back.
What's that?
They would never bring him back.
He was absolutely hilarious though. In real life. Like the dude was hilarious. Actually, man, I honestly I'm kind of interested in maybe giving Survivor another shot someday. But Clay, I think Clay would be great if he came back. But anyways, Clay Jordan was older. He's like in his, I shouldn't say older, he's in probably his early 50s. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a gap. I mean,
yeah.
What the hell's her name? I mean, I'm sure the steamer knows better than me. He's a big fan of the show. Jan Gentry.
Yeah, Jan. Yeah, she was the captain on the other tribe.
Yeah, and then we had Jake. The hell was Jake's last name, Steamer? Help me with that one.
I do not know his last name.
Jake. It starts with a B. I can't remember, man. Like Jake. Fuck, who knows? That guy told some tall tales, man. Yeah. None of his stories matched up, but he's definitely a very good dude. But he had, if he really lived the life that he lived, that he told stories about, it was pretty incredible. He like broke his ankle like parachuting in somewhere once, and got cast for a Dr. Pepper commercial walking on his hands. And I was like, what? Anyways, he was older too, but he was actually in really good shape. He was a soldier, dude. That guy, he's a big, strong, fucking Texas dude. But yeah, there was definitely a gap in age for sure.
Well, it seems like you kind of had an advantage. I mean, you played football in high school, and then in college you studied psychology and philosophy.
Yep.
So I mean, you're kind of set right there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
With mental and physical.
I mean.
And was that? I mean, do you feel that you did have that sort of advantage?
Honestly, like, I think I think anyone who's a good judge of character has an advantage, and I would consider myself a pretty good judge of character. I pick up on people's tics. I pick up on things that make people nervous, and most of the time I fucking eat them alive. I'm such an asshole. But in the case of Survivor, like, we didn't know anything about each other until the game started, and I had to look at these people for weeks before. We had to travel with them, and we couldn't talk to each other. Very weird. So I instantly started watching the way people did stuff, watching how often someone put on chapstick, how often people fidgeted through their purses for nothing, like how uncomfortable people were, because everyone has, like, you know, character traits. You can see people who are very confident who just chilled. So yeah, I mean, as far as the advantage went, there was a challenge that I definitely won almost single-handedly for my team, where they shot these balls in the air, and on TV they only showed that we caught 6, but it was out of 9, and I caught 7 of them. So I mean, I literally ran circles around the big semi-professional football player Ted, even though he said in an interview later he shut me down. But dude, I scored like 4 points on his big ass. But I would say, I mean, there were definitely some physical people out there. So physically, I think I was just on par with most of the other younger tribe mates and cast members. But mentally, like I said, I didn't lie to anybody. I didn't want to. I mean, believe it or not, after I got out there, I really had a lot of growth. I mean, when you're cut off from any sort of simulation, I had no food, no water. I mean, we had water, but no real food, no beverages, no stimulation. I went body surfing every day.
Yeah.
And like hung out in the ocean and went for hikes by myself.
So I mean, what do you that season shot for 39 days, and obviously there's only so many competitions. So what's kind of the day-to-day? What do you do? I mean, for me, I would imagine, you know, I would just kind of try to sleep in the sand all day and rest as much as possible.
Save as much energy. Well, it was 100% humidity, and it was extremely warm during the day. It was like, you know, 90 degrees or 80-some degrees. It's brutally hot, brutally humid. You couldn't get comfortable no matter where you were, no matter what you were wearing. The ocean water was at night, it was warmer than the temperature was outside. So you go hang out in the ocean, you're warm up. So even trying to refresh yourself in the ocean was fucking miserable. So the day-to-day, it's like there's 3 days. And on my season, there was a reward challenge where you'd go do something to get a reward. Like instead of getting a tarp once, we chose to get a fishing net that Jed and I lost on it in an episode. It was absolutely fucking retarded. But you have basically one day where there's nothing, but then you don't know when the reward challenge is going to come. But the immunity challenge is usually on the 3rd day, typically.
All right.
It's after 3 days. That's why even on this, he's like, oh, he gets 3 more days.
Yeah.
Because there's a reward challenge in between, but there's immunity challenge usually on the 3rd day.
Okay.
Sometimes they would throw a curveball though and have it like the day after.
Wow.
Yeah, they were dicks.
How many times did that happen for you?
Immunity challenge?
Yeah, like in terms of
going to tribal council, or
where they switched it up on you. So it wasn't the 3rd day; it was the next day.
I think that happened like once, but there were also times where like we thought that we would have a reward challenge and it would be like our day off, and then we'd have a reward challenge and an immunity challenge back to back.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking exhausted. Like those challenges take a lot out of you when you're starving and exhausted. Like your energy goes quick, man. Like you'd be surprised.
So what was your favorite challenge that you got to do?
Probably the one where I caught the balls. That was a fun challenge. Dude, on my season, there was another one too for immunity where we had to swim and pick up these pieces of a puzzle and swim back and put them together. And I'm a good swimmer, so I enjoyed that one. But we had the absolute worst challenge ever, where we had to pick up fish and put them in a bin. There was a big, like, this menagerie of all these disgusting rotten fish, and we had to take all the fish and put them in bins separated by species of fish. It was, dude, imagine, it was hot as shit outside, and they've been sitting in the sun, and you can only hold them with what you have. So we're using our shirts. So it's like you don't get to go to a laundromat, dude. So I mean, using our shirts, carrying them in our arms, people are holding them in their mouths, dude. It was just like, ugh.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Steve, what was do you remember that season much?
Yeah, it just seemed like a miserable season. Like just the conditions, like didn't seem like they're having fun whatsoever. And normally, obviously, Survivor, like you don't expect them to be having fun. But this one was just, I don't know, just seemed like just bad out there, and like it just I couldn't imagine just being out there because I don't know.
It was so hot and 100% humidity, like just miserable, dude. And even at night it would get cold because we were right off the water, so it was like two extremes. Like you couldn't sleep well because you'd have to wear every pair of clothing that you brought with you. And originally they said you could bring X amount of shirts, jackets, shorts, and socks. And right before we went to the game, they cut it in half.
Oh, wow.
So the one jacket that I brought doubled as a tarp, which was dope because I used it to lay out on, so I didn't have to lay directly in the sand, which was all right. But still, fuck, sand and everything, dude. Like, just fucking sandy. Everything's filthy. Like,
Did you not go to the beach after for like at least 3 months?
Forever. I was like, what beach? But all the water you have has been boiled, so it tastes like smoke. Like, everything is so rough out there. I've had dreams about it since, which is funny because it definitely had a huge impact on my life.
Wow.
But yeah. Excuse me.
So let's talk about your skateboard. What's the term again?
My luxury item.
Your luxury item.
Do they still get luxury items?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know the last one they ever got it. It might have been like I know the one after you had him. I can't remember them after that, like Rupert and all those guys.
It was so It was such a stupid concept.
They had it.
It was such a dumb concept. They're like, we'll let you bring one thing. And like people brought razors. I wanted to bring a fucking pad and pen, and they were like, someone else is bringing it. You can't bring that. And then I was like, I have a hammock that was like tiny that I could bring with me. They're like, you can't bring that. It'll give you
stole from Papa Bear.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, how the fuck did they get hammocks? They wouldn't let us bring a hammock because she's like, it would give you an unfair advantage. You'd sleep better than anyone. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I literally jokingly I said, so what do you want me to bring? My skateboard? Because it was sitting next to my bed, and she was like, oh my god. The girl's name was Meredith. Oh my god. Hold on, I'm gonna call you back. So she probably talked to the brass, and then they were like, oh, this kid's already retarded. We might as well make him look like a complete dumb fuck.
Oh, and it worked.
And everyone was like, every single interview I did, from David Letterman to fucking the morning show with I can't even think of her name. That chick was a bitch. I don't know who was on it then. But
was it Jane Clayson?
No, it was I can't think of her name. Anyways, man, it was the first topic of conversation. Even when Hunter from the season before me interviewed me for some San Diego news channel, he's like, "Why'd you bring a skateboard with you?" And I was like, "You motherfucker, you know the way this show works. Like that's definitely like you know what's up. Like honestly, that would be what I would choose. Seriously." But yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Walking through Thailand while we're walking to get on this terrible ramshackle boat to fucking drive out to the island where our shows, where the shit's about to go down, and everyone has like, their luxury item. It's like a hat or fucking pen and paper, a football, and I have a fucking skateboard, and we haven't said a word to each other yet. Everyone's looking at me like who invited the Down syndrome kid? Pitiful, but whatever. What are you gonna do?
His lucky skateboard.
Yeah, something like that.
Right on. Now, in speaking about the contestants, were there any people that, in watching the season retrospectively that you felt were portrayed, like, you know what I mean? How they, like, we're talking about Papa Bear, but there's obviously stuff we may not have seen about him necessarily.
Absolutely. That's what I was gonna say. Is I'm sure that behind the scenes, that other girl could be even more scandalous than what they showed, and Papa Bear could have been. I don't know. He could have been pleading his case more.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to make episodes out of the 3 days, and they're not going to show everything.
Were there people that that you got to know as friends that might have been portrayed kind of not in the way they were?
Absolutely.
Actually?
Ken, that was on our season, was a New York cop. So right off the bat, he was a hero. I clapped for him, and then everyone else clapped for him. Because when they announced what everyone did, you sat there and you're like, hey, I'm so and so. I'm X amount of. I'm this old.
Wait, not to cut you off, but hold on, wait. You guys say what you do.
Yep.
And yet Brandon Hance, what did he say? I am Russell Hance's nephew.
You didn't say anything, right?
Like what?
Yeah. Well, we had to say, we were like, I'm Robb Zbacnik. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm like, I was joking. I was like, I'm a professional rollerblader, and everyone looked at me because I had a skateboard with me. Yeah. And rollerbladers and skateboarders are like arch enemies. They're like sworn rivals. And I was like, I'm a professional rollerblader. And everyone looked at me, and then I was like, I'm just kidding. I'm a bartender. And everyone laughed, but they didn't show that in the first episode, which I was bummed out about because it's an inside joke between my friend and I. That at the time, every time we went out, people would be like, "You look so familiar," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a professional rollerblader," and they'd be like, "You're like 8 feet tall, dude. What the fuck?" So it was like an inside joke. But Ken, who was on our season, was a New York cop, and honestly, he faked injury the whole time we were there. His back hurt, or his arm hurt, or he like when we would have challenges, like he would be the dude at the back, even though he's a strong one. We had to carry this dummy that weighed like 150 pounds. I was under the abdomen of this fucking thing, holding it with my head looking forward, like leading the pack, and he was in the back, like barely holding one of the legs. It's pitiful. So I mean, he looked like he's a New York cop. I'll give him props for that, dude. He was there when it all went down. I mean, God bless him for it. It was heavy. But as far as it goes, dude, that guy was a complete pansy when we were filming the show. That's a fact. They didn't show that on TV. And Sheehan, who I'm sure the steamer may remember, was like my fucking. Yep. It was like oil and water between her and I. I couldn't stand this girl. I had fantasies about her drowning or getting eaten alive by some creature in the ocean. But she was portrayed as being this witty New York job headhunter. Like she found people jobs. She was the most annoying. Everything about her. I couldn't even listen to her breathe. I wanted to punch her. Like, and I mean, I honestly ran into her at the 10-year anniversary of Survivor, not of my season, but of Survivor, last Christmas. And she's like, "Oh, I have 2 kids now," and I was like, "Wow, somebody is married to you." But I mean, whatever. You know, there's a lid for every pot, dude. There's a lid for every pot. But she was definitely portrayed as being this like witty girl who got picked on, when in actuality she was the biggest bitch. Nobody could stand her. So yeah, I mean, it's just like you said. There's definitely things that people, you know, there's aspects of people's personalities that don't make it to air. 100%, 100%.
Right on. Well, go ahead, Steamer.
Because I know from watching it, like I didn't like you whatsoever. Like just like the first, like when they pick the teams, like you're like, yeah, we're gonna kick ass. You said something along those lines. If I'm probably misquoting you, obviously, but like you just like were just. I don't know. There's something about you, like from what they showed, that just rubbed me the wrong way. And like watching it, like I like Sheehan, but obviously there's more to it. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, I'm insanely competitive. They showed the competitive, really aggro part of my personality, but whatever. I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah,
people definitely.
That was like part of what you were doing, but it wasn't like the whole picture. So like, I can't really judge you just solely based on that. I mean, it's fun to do. It's fun like to laugh when like something happens to you. Yeah. But obviously that's not the whole case.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm an alright guy. I know how to read, and I take care of myself. But yeah, it's funny what people picked up from it. Even my mom was like, "Honey, I'm so mad at those producers. They didn't show how nice you are and how sweet you are." And I was like, "Mom, it's fucking reality TV. If they showed how nice I was, everyone would have been like, oh, what a pussy. Look at this guy with a skateboard. What a pussy he is." But anyways.
Well, I mean, you definitely. I want to kind of now segue into the Saddle Ranch, but just
wait, before we get into that, like,
sure.
Didn't you get like stung by like a stingray or something?
Yeah, I got stung by a stingray on my heel, and they showed me throw a temper tantrum because I thought I was gonna get voted off for it. So I was pissed. Right. Like I laid in the sand and swore. And the funniest thing is they made me lay down. I tried to walk in and they were like, no, lay down. And it made it look like this fucking dramatic scene. And the funniest thing too is that I was like 100 yards away from Penny and Jake when they were talking. And in the background you see me flail in the ocean and grab my heel. And they loop in a sound. They loop in a scream that was from the first episode when in frustration, I go, "Ah! You see why we need shelter?" They used that same scream in the third episode when I got stung. And none of my friends believed me, and I was like, after we got the episodes on VHS, this is back in the day, I showed on 2 TVs, I was like, "You guys ready for this? I'm not full of shit. I didn't fucking scream." And I played it. but I got stung by a stinger out there and looked like a total asshole that brought a skateboard with him.
Now, did you get like any medical attention? Because I know like the season before you, like the Dr. John got stung and someone pissed on his foot. Did anyone do anything for you?
No. They like brought me a bowl of water and they were like, "Oh, well, mine was like on the heel and it was really deep. It wasn't just like it actually got fucking rotten. And when I got home, I had to have a part of my heel removed." Yeah, it was disgusting. But there's medical out there. There's a doctor in case, in case of emergency, in case somebody really gets hurt. And I don't know if you remember, I don't know what season it was, maybe the second season, the guy who burned his hands really bad.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike, that guy in real life is a sweetheart, by the way. That dude,
Yeah.
I've seen, I saw from time to time at reunions, like the 2 that I've gone to, and that guy was a great guy. But he actually, when he had to exit the game because of his hands, the guy that came out with the bleach blonde hair, the doctor, his name's Dr. Ado Cohen, and that dude is legit Irish, like hardcore, like man's man. The guy could like build stuff with his hands and catch stuff on fire. he makes you not want to feel like a pussy. He walked out and he's like, "Oh mate, let's see, you got stung by a stingray. It's not really a big deal, but let's look at it. Let's go ahead and have a look." He like looks at my foot and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's I can give you some effervescent, aspirin. You could take it and blah blah blah." And I was like, "This guy's so fucking hardcore." I was waiting for him to be like, "Well, we could chop your foot off and you could continue," because he basically was like, "Suck it up, dude. You're a grown man." I was like, "All right, bro."
Right on. Well, for those of you who don't know, Robb is also on VH1 Saddle Ranch, which, for those of you who also don't know, we have 2 Saddle Ranchers who co-host our Jersey Shore edition, Cameron Safford and Rachel Lay,
who I dated.
Right on.
Good times. She's rad, dude. Love that girl. Saddle Ranch. What do you want to know about Saddle Ranch?
I don't know. I mean, how's it to go from a Survivor reality show to a totally, you know what I mean? Like, think of it like
dude.
bare bones
2
in terms of
like to opposite sides of the spectrum. Like,
exactly.
sure.
Like you're being in Survivor, you're being paid, or at least you're trying to get $1 million by not sleeping with anyone, not
Starving.
drinking. Exactly. While Saddle Ranch is more like drinking and
fornicating.
Yes.
Consuming mass amounts of food and acting like complete idiots on the Sunset Strip. It definitely was. It was hilarious because I mean, after Survivor, like I did some hosting stuff and I've done commercials, so I'm definitely familiar with production and the way it goes down. So I'm used to like being around camera guys and like having common conversation with guys that are working hard carrying a fucking 50-pound camera. Everyone else was like deer in the headlights in the beginning of taping, and I was like, stop fucking hamming it up.
Yeah.
Like even Cameron will tell you there was a couple people on our season that were like, anytime somebody was being filmed, they would come into the shot. This chick Alex, who's like the oldest one on our cast, who kind of like finagled her way into the cast like while we were filming, was the most annoying thing ever. Like she's the biggest fucking fame whore I've ever met in my life. Every time we were filming, like we'd be having a serious conversation, she would come over and be like, "Oh my god, what are you guys talking about?" And it was like, "Really, bro? Like, could you do me a favor and walk out in traffic and kill yourself?" So that was a different aspect where like in Survivor, like you were genuinely having conversations with people about the game and about how you felt about other people. And anytime that there was 2 people talking, there was a camera on you.
Yeah.
So if you went to the bathroom, like if girls went like buddy system and 2 of them would take a piss together, the camera crew would follow them. True story. So like they couldn't go and powder each other's noses and have conversations about how bad they hate the guys on the tribe without being filmed.
Is it is it different from in Survivor? You have a goal.
Yeah.
Whereas with
Saddle Ranch, it was just our lives, and it was definitely very different than Survivor in that aspect, because on Survivor I'm marooned on an island. There's a goal. There's you're trying to win a large sum of money. Or on Saddle Ranch, they just filmed basically us trying to work with, I guess, other colleagues in a restaurant in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But it ended up being funny. I ended up honestly like Rachel and I prior to the taping knew each other, but we weren't really close. I didn't know that she had a crush on me for 5 years, because I knew her for like 5 years, like in common conversations.
Yeah.
I'd like see her and I'd be like, "Hey," I had a giant crush on the girl when I met her. So once we started taping, I guess you could say like sparks flew, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I ended up hanging out with her for a number of months.
Fair enough. And what are you doing these days? I mean, the music video.
Yeah, I'm doing a music video that I actually filmed Sunday and Monday. I'm the lead, in Pismo Beach for a band called Oh No Not Stereo. And the song is called Big Hero from a Small Town.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, their album release party that will have it's 10 songs and it's 10 videos.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving it away for free at their album release party at the Roxy. So if anyone's listening that's interested in great music, you should Google Oh No Not Stereo. You can download their album right now for free because they're independent. They're a pretty big deal, but they're independent and they're like Radiohead. They give their music away for free.
Right on.
It's pretty badass. So I'm doing that. I'm doing an imprint. I work for a buddy of mine that owns a clothing company called Tank Farm Clothing that I've worked for off and on for years.
And there's the one Mark Burnett?
No, that's Mark Burnett wore a buddy of mine's clothing company called Sullen.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually now doing pretty well for themselves. They're in Tilly's and they're everywhere. But my buddy owns a company called Tank Farm that's like more high-end, really soft cotton. Anyways, long story short, I'm doing an imprint. That's my own thing. And I don't want to say the name because it's a common name and I'm getting it copyrighted right now and it's fucking the biggest pain in the ass ever. But I'm doing my own t-shirt, hoodie, and like woven hat line. And eventually, like after I get on my own steam, it's all based around humans, like the fact that we're animals. And that's pretty much all. That's about as. I have to be vague because I don't want to say the name. But anyways, eventually I want to be able to donate a lot to the Humane Society.
Fair enough. And Steamer, I know I kind of cut you off from being able to ask a few questions. Do you have any questions you want to ask, whether it's Survivor, Saddle Ranch, or anything that you've heard just now?
Getting back to Survivor for a second, like you were on the cast with like Brian. Did you have any like real interactions with him? Because I know he was in the other tribe. Because he's like one of the guys that I'm disappointed they don't bring back. Cause, like,
Brian Heidick?
Yeah, he was like a good player. Like I don't know if it was like the fact he was like in softcore porn before he got there.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Used car salesman too, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what he did before. He did softcore porn, but he didn't want to say that he was like a Skinamax movie star. He said that he worked in the high end of used auto or something. I remember. And then it showed him putting those glasses on like a total cheeseball.
That's right.
Brian Heidick. Honestly, man, I definitely had interactions with him, and he's a very nice guy, dude. Like 100%, super nice dude. But strange taste in fashion, and even stranger taste. Like he never really like hung out with all of us, man. He just didn't. I honestly I don't think he would be interested in coming back.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
He's one of those guys that people just forget about. But like early on, like he was a pretty damn good player. Like, and he orchestrated like the whole thing. And
oh, dude, his game, the game that he played was second to none. Like he could come back, and I mean he had everyone on that tribe. Like he was playing all of them like a fiddle, dude.
Yeah.
He had everyone.
Big Ted, Clay, and Helen, and Jan, all that.
Yep, all those dudes. The whole team. Yeah, Brian, I don't know, man. That would be interesting to see.
And like out of all the cast, the one person they brought back was Sheehan.
For All Stars.
She's like, she's an all-star.
Oh,
like,
God.
For what? Like overplaying her hand, like before like the merge.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, I don't understand that.
It was between her and I for All Stars too, which sucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like I didn't like you, I think that would have been more interesting on All Stars because she was just useless again.
I appreciate it. Yeah, she in real life when she was on our tribe, she was useless. Sheehan didn't make many friends while the show was being taped, and even afterwards, she's just one of those people, man. Like you either get her or you don't, and I never really got her. I was like, wow, she's just a strange duck, dude.
Like there had to be a reason, like she was on the outs with her tribe, like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so.
Like it's not like
I
everyone
don't
just picks
understand that
on
whole
people.
thing.
Yeah. It was pretty funny, man. Sheehan was not somebody that I would want to befriend in any capacity.
Any other questions, Steamer, before we get into predictions?
No, I think that's good. He gave a good recap of that season because it's one of those seasons that people just forget about, like early on, because it was sort of like a weird season just based on the fact that it was just miserable looking, and like more of like the tropical ones seem to be better since like visually like they're more appealing.
Yeah, we were definitely in a rainforest. Like we were on the water, but we spent so much time in the rainforest. It was like, fuck. dense.
Like that in Africa, like early on, just like,
God, dude,
I'm watching
Africa
this again.
Africa was so terrible, dude. I had to watch clips of it when they were casting for it to get me up to speed, so I knew what the fuck they were talking about when they compared players, because I had never watched the show before, and Africa was just fucking hot and miserable, and I would not want to be out there, dude. No way.
As a viewer, like, it's just painful just to watch. So
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
So predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
That's amazing.
All right, Steamer, what do you got for us? What are your predictions for next week?
I think Papa Bear goes home, and I think, I don't know, it's either going to be Brandon or I don't know if they're smart enough to get out Ozzy now if they want to, but it seemed like they're insinuating that Cochran tries to form an alliance with Jim, and like Jim's all happy.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it's interesting to speculate.
Well, it's interesting because Jim already thinks he has an alliance, but he's already being played like a fool from what we've seen. And so now he's going to try to make another alliance, and he's again thinks he's a poker player too. So, but I imagine he's a terrible one based off of what I've seen. And I want to see it blow up in his face.
See, like, did they show him, like, Cochran, like, suggesting, like, a plan to him, and, like, he's, like, all giddy. He's like, a Survivor move. Like,
and he, like,
don't worry
pumps
about,
his
like, doing
fist.
a Survivor move.
Yeah. You dicks.
Just worry about fucking making a good move. Like, don't worry, just try to be shocking. I'm gonna get this guy off. I'm gonna be no. Just try to fucking win the game. Don't do anything stupid. Make the best plays. I'm gonna shock the world.
Yeah.
You'll be eliminated shortly after that, dummy.
Yeah, you're not reinventing the wheel, bro.
No. I mean, the show's been on for like 22 seasons. You're not gonna be the guy.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with the Steamer for sure. I think Brandon dodged a bullet this time by his tribe winning immunity. If in fact next week they don't win immunity, I would say he's going to Redemption Island, and I think that he'll be there with Christina or Christine or whatever the hell her name is.
Christine.
Papa Bear's definitely gonna be going home because Christine's coming off the steam of already winning an immunity challenge or being able to stay. So I mean, once you get that in your corner, I mean, I think she would have a little bit more patience and she could relax a little bit more at the challenge. It's not do or die for her, even though it is. She's already won once.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, she just looks like that type of person that just has a calmness to her.
Absolutely, like she could dig in and get it.
Right on. Well, guys.
I think the more important question is who's going to take over the hammock. Like, is it going to be Cochran? Is Cochran going to set up shop in there now?
I think so, man. I think Cochran's going to be taking over the hammock and trying to win over Jim. P.S. though, man, Jim is a medical weed dispenser,
which is awesome.
That's absolutely incredible. I think it's hilarious though that they have that as his profession.
That should be his luxury item.
Absolutely. He's there like, so for your luxury item? Jim's like, oh, I brought an eighth of some really dank fucking indica. I'm gonna get my tribe high as hell and sing them a bunch of fucking song and dance.
Right on. Well, guys, it's been another great episode, and before we head out, once again, Rob, give us your Twitter handle or anything else that you want the fans to follow you on, whether it's website, otherwise.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I'm actually I'm developing my own website right now. It's called feedmetodeath.com. Mm-hmm. I just registered the domain, and my buddy and I are working on it now. But I guess stay tuned in the future. Feedmetodeath.com, common spelling. It's basically all art and media. Everything I do, photographs, paintings, like pictures, photographs. The clothing line will be on there. And then Oh No Not Stereo, definitely look up that band. They're incredible. And I'm blessed to have this opportunity to be in their video. And definitely hit me up on Twitter. I love having people ask me the fucking dumbest and worst questions ever. I absolutely love it. And it's Die For What You Love. And it's DIEFORWHAT, letter U, LOVE. At Die For What You Love. And yeah, man, I guess stay tuned. We'll see what happens if there's a second season.
Right on. And Steamer, they should follow you at The Steamer, correct? On Twitter?
Yep, that's it.
At The Steamer?
Yeah, we love The Steamer.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I'll be following you, brother.
Steve,
man.
Steamer, I love how you've kind of become this cult hero as The Steamer. I love it.
It's awesome.
Absolutely love it.
It's very rare. It's like a pro wrestling thing. It's like I'm the steamer. It's just.
It works though, bro.
Don't get me wrong. It seems like mad awkward. Like I'm 33. I'm calling myself the steamer. So I realize it's kind of lame too, but I'm gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah, you should, man. We call a friend of mine that's a grown man the freshman.
There you
He
go.
fucking wears it like a badge. So he loves it.
And for those of you listening for those of you fans of AMC's Breaking Bad, AfterBuzz TV will be doing the season finale live from the John Lovitz Comedy Club, October 9th, right after the season finale. So be sure to check that out on AfterBuzzTV.com. On behalf of Robb Zbacnik, Steve the Steamer, and myself, Phil Svitek, we'll see you next time.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.